Types of neurons. This is the most common type neuron, typical neuron. So this type of neuron is called multipolar. Multipolar neuron. And in multipolar neuron, you have multiple dendrites and one axon. That's the most common type. Another type of neuron we see in the brain or nervous tissue that has one dendrite and one axon. So how many processes together? Two. That's why called bipolar. Only one dendrite and one axon. Axon is always one. So bipolar. And there is another type of neuron where there is no dendrite, only one axon. So this is the cell body, and this is actually a single axon. It has both ends like this. So the cell body is attached to the axon this way. Okay? So only one axon, no dendrite. So that's why it is called unipolar. Also called pseudo-unipolar. So those are three types of neurons. Now, there is another type of neuron. Those neurons do what you see. This is one neuron and small neuron.
Sir, can you move the skeleton, please?
This one? This way or that way?
Just out of the way so I can read it.
Oh, okay. So you don't like him?
I like him, I just can't read if he's in the
Okay.
way.
I told you to like him, love him, hug him. Okay.
We're gonna have him.
Okay. This is another neuron, big one. Okay. There are tiny neurons between the big neurons. These are called interneurons. Okay, interneurons. So those are different types of neurons in the nervous system. Here you see these are multipolar because one axon and many dendrites. This is also multipolar. This is bipolar because one axon, one dendrite. One dendrite, one axon. So these are bipolars. And this is actually a single axon. And this is the cell body. So this is unipolar. Okay. When you see the number, count the number of dendrites, don't count here. Count how many coming out from the cell body. Make sense? Only one. If I ask you to count the trees, you won't count the branches, right? You'll count the stem. Synapse. Synapse is the connection between the neurons. How one neuron talks to the next neuron, where one neuron talks to the next neuron, that area is called a synapse. So this is a synapse. If I remove this one, you see here, this is the axon terminal and this is the dendrite. So the signal, electrical signal comes this way, you know that, and that releases neurotransmitter here, neurochemical, I showed you at the very beginning today, and this is the dendrite of next neuron, dendrite, neurochemical, okay. So this is a synapse. So this is the location where the previous neuron talks to the next neuron, gives signal to the next neuron by releasing neurotransmitter. Okay? So this is a neuron to neuron synapse. Neuron to neuron synapse. Now, you must remember, just few days ago, I talked about the muscle contraction. Remember that? I told you the axon terminal ends on the muscle fiber. And that is called neuromuscular junction, right? Neuromuscular junction. So this is the neuromuscular junction. This is a synapse too. So neuromuscular junction is a synapse. What kind of synapse? Neuron to muscle, because this is muscle fiber. So the synapse could be two types. One is neuron to neuron, another is what? Neuron to muscle. Which neurochemical is released here, neurotransmitter? All of you should remember. Which neurotransmitter is released here at neuromuscular junction? ACH, acetylcholine, right? Should not forget that first, okay? The only one I talked about. So, in neuromuscular junction, ACH is the neurotransmitter, right? But in neuron to neuron synapse, there are many different types of neurotransmitters. Some are excitatory, some are inhibitory, okay? So, some delays the transmission, some enhance the transmission, okay? For example, GABA. One very common neurotransmitter is called GABA, just telling you, GABA, that is inhibitory. So this neurotransmitter will do what? Inhibit the transmission. Make sense? Slow down the transmission. Most of the neurotransmitters are excitatory, like glutamate. Have you heard this? GABA, glutamate. Another neurotransmitter that does opposite. First, the transmission. Make sense? And that's how the brain works. No? Some signals should be transmitted faster, some should be delayed. Okay? So neurotransmitters are very important. Anyway, so synapse could be how many types? Two. Neuron to neuron and neuron to muscle. And neuron to muscle is the neuromuscular junction. Reflex. Reflex is an autonomic response, involuntary response to a stimulus. You know, when you go to the to your doctor sometime, doctors do what? Patellar reflex, just the knee jerk. So that is a reflex, right? If I put flashlight on your eye, what happens in the pupil? Constriction of pupil occurs. You are right. Yeah, constriction, right? You all probably know that. If you know someone is taken to the hospital like kind of unconscious, doctors will do what? Put light on the eye, right? To see if pupil constricts. That is called reflex. Reflex of pupil, pupillary reflex, right? This is also a reflex. This is the knee jerk, okay, or patellar reflex. So now you tell me, reflex is voluntary or involuntary? Involuntary. Okay, pupil constricts by itself. You don't do that. Your leg kicks forward by itself. You don't do that, right? So reflex must be involuntary or autonomic. Number one. If I hit here, okay, and you move your leg, voluntarily, that is not a reflex. Okay, that is not a reflex. Number two, reflex should be very fast or slow? Fast. So that is number two, property of a reflex. And reflex should be always same way. The response should be what? Same. Like if I put light on your eye, people will constrict, right? If I do again, will do the same. It will not dilate, right? It will always respond same way. Make sense? Leg always will move forward, not backward. Okay? So how many properties I said? 3. Number 1, reflex must be voluntary or involuntary? Involuntary. Number 2, reflex must be fast or slow? Reflex must be fast. Reflex must be fast. And number 3, I said, should be same way, right? Repeat in same direction. Okay? Every time you present the stimulus. Now, the reflex arc is the complete pathway of the reflex. Let me just show you what is reflex arc. Okay, this is your leg. Okay, here is the patellar ligament. You know that, and you have the receptors here. Okay, in the ligament you have the receptors, and this is your brain and the spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord or central nervous system, whatever you say. What happens when I hit here with hammer, these receptors get activated by that pressure and send signal to the spinal cord. Now you tell me, going towards the central nervous system, that is sensory input or motor output? Sensory input, right? So this is sensory nerve. Sensory input by the sensory nerve taken to the spinal cord. And then integration will occur in the central nervous system. Can go here or can be processed here. And then the central nervous system sends the motor output to the muscles, not to the ligament. Motor command goes to the muscle to move the leg. So this is the muscle here. Okay, and this is the motor output. So this whole pathway is called the reflex arc. Whole pathway is called what? Reflex arc. So first receptors must be activated, then sensory neurons or nerves will take the signal to the integration center, then motor output will go to the muscle. In this case, muscle is the effector who performs the action. Muscle is the effector that performs the action. Okay? So, those are 5 components of the reflex arc. Okay? Make sense? Okay.